Good evening, friends. Stephen Benoon with Israeli News Live, and I just want to give you guys a quick little update there. I have been traveling, because we actually went by vehicle on this trip here that I did, and so I'm trying to take care of some business and everything, take care of some things that are going on, and then tomorrow I'm going to kind of just lock myself away here in the room so I can really focus on putting together some of these Patreon videos that I've been promising you guys. In fact, I got one. I'm sitting here looking at the notes on it right now. Wow, this one is going to be very, very interesting that I want to get into all kinds of numbers. I got to be able to read my handwriting though. That's the hard part. Let's see. Wait a minute. Let me back up because I know that's what it is. Several pages that I'm actually not looking at, but I want to kind of give you an. I know what we're going tomorrow. One of the first things I'm going to deal with on one of those Patreon videos is going to be the implants that were pulled out of people. Because one thing in particular, and I have to be very, very careful how I word this. In fact, I may have to do this video on iConnect and then load it here for you guys through YouTube, because I don't think I could do this one on Patreon either. And the reason being is because, how do I put this here? How many of you guys remember Dr. Eli? When I had her on, we talked about basically it's like inside the body we get this not a replication, but a construction of like a computer board chip type thing, right? But anyway, the aliens themselves on the implants that are put in human beings are always 100% compatible with the human DNA. There's no rejection. There's no need of taking any types of medications. Like for example, if you were to have a steel rod put in your body and they put in titanium or something like that, they always have to give you medication so that your body doesn't reject it. If you're doing a stent in your heart to open up a heart valve, something of that effect. Again, a lot of times you're going to have to take some types of medications to make sure your body does not reject the different types of artificial materials that we put in your body. But one thing that they have discovered, and I'm kind of actually telling you guys this now, so I guess it's all right. We'll just go ahead. Well, I'll go ahead and share it with you now then. These implants never require that. They don't require batteries. And what it does, as it was said in this meeting, that and like I said, I spent, about 18 hours in meetings. So you can only imagine how many notes that I have on things that were being discussed there. But this was one of the things that was actually being discussed, is that, and the fact that, also, well, the other thing that got brought up, and this is what actually brought the subject up when we were in the discussion, was the question was being presented of why do people get these clicking sounds? People hear those like a clicking sound, and it is believed to be that it's normally the chip that is in the implant that is in normally around the ankle, around the knee. They're always around joints, things like that. And that's, hey, Sister Brenda. I just recognized Sister Brenda that greeted me. God bless you, sis. God bless all of you that are messaging here. But at any rate, there we have a thing called a spectrum reflectrometer. We also use the government uses another thing called a refractometer, and these devices are used to be able to pick up practically any type of radio wave signal that you could ever possibly imagine. But the chips that are implanted that we have found in people, there are doctors that have done this, they've never been able to pick up the signals from these, even though they do know that they're putting out. All right, so Benjamin, you put on there that you have clicks in your ears. I do know there's other things besides implants that can cause clicks in the ears, right? So just keep that in mind. But that is one thing that is frequently mentioned by people that do have these implants in them. There, gosh, I can't think of the name of the doctor off the top of my head, but he actually died. But he had pulled out a lot of these different implants on people. In fact, when he began to blow the whistle on that, that's when he ended up having one of these untimely deaths, so sad to say. Another thing, too, that was brought out about these is that some of the little chips that have been pulled out ended up having a number on them. And that number, in some cases, not in all cases now, but in some cases, that number corresponded to the CIA's technology department. And although they were taken to the CIA and there was a formal request made as to when did the CIA develop this and how, the CIA equivocally denied it and said they never did. Well, you know how that goes. Deniability is always is a key ingredient in the government, especially when it comes to things like that. But anyway, by the way, the other thing that was said about that is that they don't extract energy from anything else but the human. They believe that actually the human body is what powers these things. We have discovered, though, the type of material this is made of. We've discovered this type of material in meteorites before as well. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of share a little bit of that right there. There is some more notes here, but I'll actually save this for Patreon there and go over that with you guys on that. One thing I did want to mention, though, is I keep getting these reports, and I do have a meeting as well tomorrow that I'll be in, that I'll try to get some updates on Ukraine. But I saw the report about Russia shot down its own SU, I think it's SU-24, and then I'm seeing where I think it was, let me see which, I can't, it's on my phone. So, oh well, I'm not going to be pulling that up. But where the Russians, I think it's in the Daily Beast, they had reported that the Russians were claiming that the reason why they're losing the war is because the soldiers that Ukraine is using has been drugged up like super soldiers or something like that. A lot of this is just propaganda. And, you know, not to say Russia doesn't have losses. Sure they do. They have losses just like we have losses. When I say we, the United States, of course, backing the Ukrainian military. Israel's backing the Ukrainian military. There's always a lot of losses on both sides of the fence. But because I do know the advisors that are directly involved with Ukraine, I know that it is clearly propaganda that's being disseminated on a mass scale in the United States. And that, as it's been said to me, Russia is nowhere near losing as badly as people are claiming they're losing. So it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. It's just not the case. Russia's not having these massive losses as people are saying they are. There is a threat, though, and there again, this is a threat. It's not a guarantee, but there's a threat that the war could spread. And you got to keep in mind there are folks there in the Middle East that want to create a biblical narrative, and they are more than willing for this to spread to make it look like it is biblical prophecy being fulfilled, especially when it comes to Russia and Israel, whether we're dealing with Gog of Magog, but you got to remember, President Putin works directly with the Chabad organization in Russia, very close, very tight knit, and so don't believe everything you hear there. I still hold that the Gog of Magog is a very embedded demonic war that we're about to face on levels far greater than we could ever imagine. And maybe not so much as Paul put it. I always go back to Paul on this when he says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and against spiritual wickedness in high places. Those are archons. So This battle that we are going to enter in with the Gog of Magog battle, I think, has more to do with that than what most people are talking about. Also, Don, I see what you're saying on that. I am going to do a video on that. I don't want to mention that as of yet here because I don't know what type of censorship YT is doing. But those of you that want to catch his comment there in the live chat there, we are going to be discussing this. I'm also, though, needing to confirm that what's been leaked is 100% real. I know we have already talked about the changes that will suddenly come. We've been talking about that for about a year now, and we know that there's going to come, also as a part of that is going to be the social credit score. I have been told that there would, and I've shared this with you guys already, I think if not here on Patreon, I know I have, that what they're going to do is they're going to go to a complete digital system. But we want to find out some facts on this just to corroborate that information. So we have been aware from the very day that this was released that where this information was leaked, but we want to also make sure that we get as accurate information for you guys as we can. I know many of you might be scratching your head going, Steve, what in the world are you talking about? It's basically New World Order, sudden collapse, what they plan to do. This is what I can say, at least that much now. What they're planning on doing, how that we're going to all be categorized. Pretty much, if you're not a sovereign citizen, which there's a lot of people, and very, very, well, let's put it this way, people like Trump and others who already have their quote-unquote sovereign citizenship type thing, so they won't be affected by it. But this is not like where they talk about the sovereign citizenship where people want to get out from underneath the system, where they're being traded on the stock exchange, things like that. This is a completely different thing that is a complete part of the New World Order, and these people that they consider sovereign will not be under. Who was that there? I missed your name there. You're talking about the classifications. Yes, that is very true too. You have the common class, etc. But the sovereigns don't have. They basically get to keep their money. They get to participate in society without being controlled. And those though that are under the social credit score, it's going to be like a nightmare for these people. One thing I will say that I do know, and I have shared with you guys before, there is a company, and I'm going to go deeper into this company later with you guys as well. There is a company, though, that creates the super soldiers that are AI. I think we've mentioned, maybe we've mentioned it here besides Patreon, but we have talked about that before on Patreon, that the soldier in tests that they've done, they put them in with a group of Navy SEALs, and within 10 minutes, that one AI super soldier wiped out the entire Navy SEAL team. They have created these things and have built them for distribution on a global scale in the millions. They're human-like. They look human, but they're robotic soldiers. I've been told that they can shoot around corners. I've been told that they can detect whether you're hostile. If you are to be wounded, they will wound you. If you're to be killed, they would kill you, and they can. And it's just basically like there's no stopping them. There's a lot of fear that this is the type of things that they're going to use when they go to really crack down and roll this out. Again, before we get deeper into this, and I really would like to have my wife with me. Yeah, robotic dogs tools as well. In fact, Paige, listen, there's a company, I believe it's in Michigan, that does robotic dogs. Does anybody happen to know the name of that company? If you do, please put that right here in the chat here. I don't want to say anything. I just want to see if anybody knows the name of the company that does the robotic dogs in the state of Michigan. And, oh, by the way, Lisa, you mentioned that they are demonic. They've not been successful that I know of. But the thing is, all right, so names popping up in there. Let me just put it like that. I'm not going to say anything other than that. Somebody's popping up a name in here. That's who makes the soldiers. Okay? That's who makes the soldiers as well. That's a major, major class subject. I'll just say it like that, right? And you could only imagine why. People know where they're making their little toys. They would love, or there would be people that would love to make sure they can't make these toys because they're going to use these toys against you. But anyway, getting back to this issue about the soul transference, they're trying to figure out a way to put a spirit or an archon, literally now, archons, their spirit in these robots. Now, don't think that they can't possibly pull it off, because remember, when Jesus cast out the demons, they wanted to go into the swine, right? He permitted them to go into the swine. So don't be surprised they figure that one out. We're going to get some biblical things too tomorrow. My wife shared one with me earlier today, and it really made me think. I'm going to save it for tomorrow. We're going to talk about Elisha a little bit in Gehazi. But there's so many biblical things, biblical stories that would make us really not just look at these things as being some kind of way out, far out ideology type thing, right? That's going to be one I can't wait to share with you there about Elisha and Gehazi. That's a very interesting one. But anyway, listen, thank you for sharing the name of that on here. But again, I'll do a little bit more digging for you guys on these subjects here. And I'll try to get my wife to join a video with me about that particular issue there. It is very serious, and it is a very concerning issue. And the only way that's ever going to be turned over is if we really wake the people up in a massive scale, like unbelievable. God bless you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Like I said, my computer has been totally knocked offline. I had my wife's computer up tonight, but I'm having a few little issues there, so I didn't have quite enough time to put everything together so I could do the video there. But hopefully I'll get those bugs worked out in the morning so I can record some of these other ones here. And thank you for those of you for your love for my wife as well. I know she really appreciates that, so thank you, and God bless you all, and have a great night.